The relationship has long been a source of curiosity for the tennis community. Why is Alex Eala's career so closely followed by Roger Federer, the 20-time Grand Slam champion and the most graceful player to ever set foot on a court? He went to her junior matches. But why? Why did he talk so warmly and admiringly about her? For years, the rumors have been circulating. Some believed he detected a kindred spirit, while others said it was just polite Swiss behavior. However, the world number one, four-time Grand Slam champion, and close watcher of both players, Aryna Sabalenka, has now officially disclosed the truth, and her response has left the tennis community stunned. What did Sabalenka say about the relationship between the Swiss master and the Filipina star, and why is it stronger than anyone could have predicted? March of 2022, Mallorca, Spain's Rafa Nadal Academy. Roger Federer watched the young players as they performed their routines while standing at the edge of the practice court with his arms folded. He was there to watch the next generation of tennis talent emerge from the academy bearing the name of his greatest rival, not to train. A 16-year-old left-hander from the Philippines was one among the players on the court. Alex Eala was her name. Federer had heard that she was a junior Grand Slam champion with a strong lefty forehand and poise that belied her age. However, something clicked when I saw her in person. He saw temperament in addition to talent. The way she handled the tight point, the way she reset after a mistake, the way she held herself between rallies, calm, focused, unshakable. That's when the connection was made. Fans have observed Federer's subtle but clear support for Eala over the years. When his schedule permitted, he went to her junior bouts. In interviews, he spoke warmly and admiringly about her. He was one of the first people to congratulate her on social media when she became a professional. There were rumors circulating. Some believed he detected a kindred spirit, while others said it was just polite Swiss behavior. Some questioned whether a talented new athlete had a formal mentorship, something more than a legend's casual respect. Federer, however, never provided an explanation. He rarely discussed his connections with young players in public, preferring to let his behavior do the talking. The query hung in the air. Why did Roger Federer have such a strong bond with Alex Eala? June 2026, Berlin, Germany Open press conference in Berlin. A Filipino journalist who had come to Berlin especially to cover Alex Eala's campaign asked the question. She had followed the Filipina celebrity since she was a young girl and had seen her soar from Quezon City's cracked courts to the 28th spot in the world rankings. She questioned four-time Grand Slam champion and world number one Aryna Sabalenka about Eala's quick rise. At first, Sabalenka's response was anticipated. Acknowledgement of Eala's improving serve, praise for her perseverance, and recognition to the fervent Filipino supporters who had made every tournament seem like home. The Belarusian's tone changed then. People discuss her game, her rating, and her admirers, but they don't discuss the people that support her. The space slanted forward. With a measured tone and the weight of someone who had seen behind the curtain, Sabalenka went on. For years, Roger Federer has been quietly and discreetly tutoring her. Whispers arose throughout the room. Reporters rushed to get the quote. Cameras focused on Sabalenka's face, looking for any indication of hyperbole. However, the top player in the world wasn't lying. Before most people even knew her name, he recognized something in her. He reached out to her and gave her advice, not on tennis technique, but on living at the top, how to deal with pressure, how to manage celebrity, and how to remain grounded when everyone wants a piece of you. Sabalenka took a moment to allow her words sink in. She is very devoted to him because of this. Before she became famous, he saw her. When she was still discovering who she was, he had faith in her. The tennis community was rocked by the discovery. For years, Roger Federer, the 20 Grand Slam champion and most adored tennis player in history, had been discreetly guiding Alex Eala, not as a coach or agent, but rather as a confidant and someone who had traveled the same journey as her. Sabalenka continued, she reminds him of himself. Not the tennis, her disposition, her poise under duress, or the way she acts when things are going wrong. With her pen poised above her notebook, the journalist who had posed the questions sat motionless. She had traveled to Berlin in search of a story about seeds and rankings. Confirmation of a bond that had been concealed in plain sight was what she was taking with her, and it was far more valuable. The video became viral in a matter of hours. The hashtag #FedererMentorsEala started to gain popularity worldwide. Filipino supporters shed tears. Tennis experts rushed to uncover proof of the mentorship, looking through previous interviews, scrutinizing social media posts, and making connections that weren't obvious until Sabalenka shed light on them. As Alex Eala was getting ready for her Berlin first-round match, she discovered herself at the center of a tale she had never shared. The tennis community dismissed the evidence as coincidence or wishful thinking, but it had been there the entire time, buried in plain sight. It started in 2022 while 16-year-old Alex Eala was training at Mallorca's Rafa Nadal Academy. Federer paid an unexpected visit to the academy, with whom he has kept a tight relationship since its establishment. He encouraged the juniors while watching them work out, and he had a private talk with one player. Alex Eala was that player. Witnesses reported seeing a young woman leave the meeting clearly moved, her shoulders straightened with a newfound confidence, her eyes sparkling, but no cameras nor reporters caught the conversation. Eala would subsequently discuss the encounter in a rare interview, saying, "He told me to enjoy the journey. He advised me to call him if I ever stopped enjoying myself because pursuing a dream is supposed to be challenging but also enjoyable." Over time, the mentorship grew more intimate. Federer has leisure now that he was retired. He was perceptive. He recognized in Eala the same silent burden, the weight of carrying expectations that went well beyond the baseline that he had experienced over the course of 2 decades as the face of a sport. Not just after her wins, but also after her defeats, he reached out. Even for players he mentored, he hardly sent handwritten notes. He gave her advice on how to manage her schedule, deal with media attention, and safeguard her mental health in a demanding sport. In an interview with a Swiss journal in 2025, Eala remarked, "He doesn't tell me how to hit my forehand," which was the only time she had discussed their relationship in public. "He teaches me how to be a human, how to maintain my composure in the face of change, and how to recall why I initially began playing." Although the tennis community had observed the relationship, it had never fully grasped its significance. Fans thought Federer's post about Eala's 2025 Miami Open quarterfinal run was just a standard professional congratulation. He was seated quietly in the player's box during her 2026 Indian Wells match, when the cameras caught him nodding in agreement following a particularly bold move. After bringing it up, commentators went on. However, Sabalenka's disclosure solved the puzzle. According to Sabalenka, she calls him when she's having trouble. It has nothing to do with tennis, life, the isolation of the tour, or the stress of representing a whole nation. He assures her that she is not alone because he has experienced everything. The world number 1 hesitated and carefully considered what to say next. She has someone in her corner who has seen everything, who understands what it takes to stay at the top, and who reminds her that the best winners aren't characterized by their triumphs but rather by how they handle defeat, which is, I believe, why she is so calm on the court. Federer has only mentioned Eala once, in passing, during an interview in 2025. He claimed that she is unique not because of her performance but rather because of her spirit, her fighting style, and her unwavering perseverance. "You are born with that. It is not something you can learn." In light of Sabalenka's disclosure, the interview, which had been written off as courteous praise, read like something quite different. A mentor talking about a protege he had seen develop and who reminded him of the young Roger Federer, the Basel boy who previously had loftier dreams. The tennis community now comprehended. Roger Federer was more than just a distant admirer of Alex Eala. He was a quiet protector and a behind-the-scenes figure who had been influencing her career with knowledge gained over 2 decades at the top of the sport rather than technical guidance. One of the best players of all time was on the side of Alex Eala, a 21-year-old Quezon City native who had left home at the age of 13 to pursue a dream. Berlin Open Press Conference, Berlin, Germany, June 2026, continues. The reporters at the Berlin Open Media Center were not satisfied despite the fact that the question had been addressed and the revelation had been made. They desired more. They wanted to know why Alex Eala was selected by the most adored tennis player in history, Roger Federer, who had witnessed generations of talent come and go. Leaning back in her chair, Sabalenka thought about the question. Being at the top for as long as Roger has, in my opinion, develops an eye for something that rankings are unable to quantify. You can tell if a young player has it when you see them under pressure. She hesitated. Eala possesses it. The room was waiting. It's not her serve or forehand. Rather, it's how she manages the times when everything seems to be falling apart. 2 weather delays against Mazarova, a rowdy crowd at Roland Garros hurling objects at her, and a 5-2 loss to Cheriva in the second set in Birmingham. She managed to find a path without breaking or cracking. The tone of Sabalenka's voice softened. Because that's who he was, Roger sees that in her. He wasn't the most athletic or strong player, but he was the most cool and graceful under duress, and he seized that in her. The analogy was startling. Federer's career was characterized by grace rather than brute force. He was able to create points like a chess grandmaster, discover angles that didn't seem to exist, and make the seemingly impossible seem routine. Eala played a different game. The temperament was the same, but with a fighter's grit and a lefty's angles. Sabalenka replied simply, "She reminds him himself." The person, not the tennis. The manner in which she conducts herself, how she manages defeat, and how she respects her opponents. You can't coach that. She is that person. All over the tennis world, the words struck a chord. Filipino supporters experienced a rush after witnessing their champion endure blow after blow, fines, fees, snubs, and doubts.